Welcome to our Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition Fireside Chat. It's my absolute pleasure to be your host this afternoon. I have some colleagues here from In Defense of Animals helping me out. I've got Bob Price, our Director of Development.
Hi, thank you everyone for being here.
And I have Mary Essency, who's also helping. And we'll be taking note of your questions and reading them out at the end, as well as helping you and answering any questions you might have in the chat. You are welcome to use the chat at any time if you are joining us via Zoom. And then I am just thrilled to introduce Rayko Takahashi with our Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition, and Jeffrey Mausner, also with our Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition. So let me get started and share our presentation, which we've been putting together for you. All right, so here we have it. Dog and cat meat. The theme here is empowering your activism. So both Rayko and Jeff have been very active in they're founding members of our Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition, which has been working over the past year. It's a group of like-minded individuals and organizations who are working to end the dog meat trade. So let me see, where's my speaker notes? So this is what we're going to cover in this session. We'll do some introductions, and then we have Jeff will be telling us about a very special project that he conducted with Korean War veterans. Then we'll be celebrating, of course, the absolutely momentous news about South Korea's dog meat ban, which you can see I couldn't be happier about. Then we'll be talking about Rayko's special project, one of Rayko's special projects, Yoga Stops Yulin, and which is a special event that we held in Malibu. And then China. I'm sure many of you are very interested to hear what's going on in China, what's going on with the Yulin Dog Meat Festival. What about cats? We talk a lot about the dog meat trade, but when we're talking about the dog meat trade, we often actually really mean the dog and cat meat trade. So we will be focusing specifically on cats. Where to next? There's a lot of different countries where dog and cat meat, unfortunately, is still eaten. So we'll be talking a little bit about those and what we're going to be focusing on in the years ahead, and opportunities to act. So if you hang around till the end, you'll be getting a good list of all of the things that you can do to help dogs caught in the dog meat trade and cats caught in the cat meat trade. And then we'll have your questions. So without further ado, so my name is Fleur Dawes. I am the Communications Director and Director of International Partnerships at In Defense of Animals. In Defense of Animals has been working to end the dog meat trade and the cat meat trade for over 30 years. So tens of millions of dogs and cats, as you probably know, are tortured and brutally killed in the trade every single year. And the headline news is in January this year, we had a incredible victory in South Korea. Something that I had no idea that I would see in my lifetime, or no clue what would happen. We've seen a lot of positive change. We'll talk a bit more about that later. But it's very much testament to the power of advocacy. So every action that you've been taking online, every donation that you've made, it's all been driving towards this one point. So we're going to discuss what's going on, how IDA has been partnering with local groups, and how we've supported local Korean activists and lawmakers who have worked tirelessly, along with the international community, us, to make this happen. Our dog meat work today, so let me show you a little picture. We've got, this is somebody who we rescued this year from a dog meat farm in South Korea, within the last year. And we work to save many dogs from the dog meat trade every year. We save cats from the cat meat trade too with our partners. This guy is in a dog meat farm in South Korea. And then we have also recently founded, with Jeffrey and Rayko and other partners, the Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition. So I would like to introduce you now to our two founding members, Rayko Takahashi and Jeffrey Mausner. Both are citizen animal activists who IDA is supporting with tangible projects to move the needle for dogs and cats. So they have had a pivotal effect on making the dog meat ban happen in South Korea. So I want them to have the opportunity to tell you all about that in this meeting. So first, Rayko, if you want to say hi, Rayko, so that we can spotlight you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me today. It's my honor. So much to celebrate and so much work to do ahead of us still.
Oh, thank you so much, Rayko. So Rayko is a very talented music composer, a session vocalist, a multi-instrumentalist for two Los Angeles-based music library companies. Her voice is beautiful, and her musical creations can be experienced across a variety of platforms. So she's on Amazon Prime series, Hulu, Adult Swim, Disney productions, and feature films as well. That's just a small bit of her work. In addition to that, Rayko takes the stage as the dynamic frontwoman for several bands, including Lolita Dark. And beyond her musical endeavors, Rayko is deeply committed to animal activism. She uses her platform to advocate for animal rights, adoption, and veganism. So she is a very devoted rescue mom as well to her dog. You can see them behind her there in her background, her two dogs. Her dog Zoloft. And then she is also currently a foster mom to a senior dog named Gigi. So we encourage you to, if you are in the Los Angeles area and you can offer a forever home to Gigi, there she is, beautiful girl, we encourage you to reach out through the chat. Rayko's diverse talents also extend to the traditional art of Japanese tea ceremonies, which she is revered for, and we'll explore that a bit more in depth later. So next, I want to introduce you to Jeff Mausner. So Jeff is a former law professor and a trial attorney at the United States Department for Justice. So Jeff, I don't know if you want to wave and say a little hello and we can spotlight you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. I'm just figuring out my spotlight. Yes, there you are. So Jeff has received awards from the Attorney General for his work prosecuting Nazi war criminals. And last year, we bestowed Jeff with a special award of our own, IDA's prestigious Guardian Award for his animal activism. And I have a photo of that. There we go. When Jeff retired 12 years ago, he became a volunteer at the City of Los Angeles West Valley Animal Shelter. He decided to run for his local neighborhood council in order to improve the conditions at the city shelter. And he was elected on the platform of giving animals representation, which is pretty cool. He must have a pretty nice neighborhood there. He's made incredible strides since he's been there. So he's been fighting to keep the shelters open, fighting to make refurbishments, improving conditions, defending staff, winning trap neuter release for community cats instead of slaughter. So protecting cats from being killed and getting greater freedoms for rescues to operate in the area too. He is a staunch advocate for LA city shelters and making them no kill. So Jeff started working to end the brutal cat and dog meat trade before founding the Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition, and he successfully sponsored resolutions in neighborhood councils and lobbied the city and mayor to pass resolutions making it the official position of Los Angeles to oppose dog meat worldwide. So this is one of the major economic centers in the world opposing dog meat, and that's thanks to Jeff. And it's been very useful in our lobbying work. So Jeff, would you like to tell us a little bit more about your recent project to end the dog meat trade in South Korea with the Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition?
Thank you, Fleur. And hello, everyone. The members of the Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition had all been working in different ways to end dog meat, petitions, demonstrations, events, writing news articles. As Fleur mentioned, I worked on getting the city of Los Angeles to pass resolutions through neighborhood councils, city council, and the mayor, making it the official position of the city to oppose dog meat in South Korea and other countries. That passed in 2019. As a result of all of the things that everybody has been doing, dog meat consumption in South Korea was declining from about 2.5 million dogs per year to about 1 million. But a nationwide ban kept getting stalled, mainly because of opposition from industry groups like dog meat farmers, butchers, restaurants, the people involved in it. I've been thinking who would be the most influential people in trying to convince legislators in South Korea to pass a dog meat ban. That would be Korean War veterans who risked their lives to save South Korea. So I knew, I've been trying to get Korean War veterans, and I knew that finding living Korean War veterans who were willing and able to make a video statement to the South Korean legislature wasn't going to be easy. The Korean War was from 1950 to 1953. Any Korean War veterans would be in their late 80s, 90s, or even hundreds. They would have to be dog lovers and physically and mentally capable of making a video statement. So we have In Defense of Animals to thank for finding them. IDA is really a fantastic organization. They have 250,000 members, including, I'm sure, many of you who are here today. Our moderator, Fleur, and I wrote up an appeal to Korean War veterans or anyone who knew any Korean War veterans, and IDA sent it out to all of its members. Some of you probably got that. That is how we found the veterans who appear in the video. So you want me to just keep talking? I'll go on with that.
Yes, please, Jeff. You're doing great. I'm interested.
Okay. The Korean War veterans in the video, their names are Anthony Maleka, Orville McKinney, and Eugene Clifford Baker, and other members of the United States military risked their lives to protect the Republic of Korea and the lives of South Koreans. Many of their friends died to save the country. In their video statements, they sincerely asked the South Korean National Assembly to pass a bill. It's called the Special Act on Dog Meat, and to stop killing dogs. These veterans who fought for the lives and freedom of South Koreans and who are responsible for the very existence of the National Assembly in Korea and democracy there deserve to be listened to, and they were by the Korean legislators.
I think that's just so inspiring. Yeah, Jeff reached out to me a while back, saying that he had this passion, he had this idea that the that the South Korean war veterans were going to be so influential because the whole democracy is owed to these guys who fought, and yeah, literally their friends gave up their lives. These guys risked their lives to make South Korea, what it is today, the free and independent country that it is, with the freedom to ban dog meat. So the idea to use the freedom that they've been, assisted with by America to ban dog meat and exercise that power was really inspiring. And so was it tough to find those veterans, Jeff?
Say that again, please.
I think you did have initially some trouble finding veterans, as you said.
Right.
Then,
when we sent out the email to all of your members, we got a number of people who responded, and these three that we chose were, just great. You really have to see this video. They make very moving statements in the video. And then we also got some actors and actresses, Priscilla Presley and Catherine Hagel, also made very moving and heartfelt statements in the video. And we want to thank Adrian Hewitt and Bruce Kreider for arranging their participation. There's some other celebrities in the video, but you'll have to watch the video to see who they are.
absolutely.
And also Congressman Brad Sherman is in the video. So take a look at this video. It was sent to the all members of the South Korean National Assembly. IDA has another thing that's really great is they have this platform where they can set it up so members can individually send emails to all of the members of the National Assembly. And over 18,000 IDA supporters sent emails to all of the National Assembly members. And I personally sent it several times myself, November, December last year. And I have this cool GoDaddy thing that allows me to see who clicks on those emails when I send it out in their system. And a good number of members of the National Assembly did, click on the email with the video. So we know that they saw it, and I think it was very convincing. So.
Well, huge congratulations, Jeff, for that momentous achievement, putting that project together. It was a pleasure to work with you on it, and I know that everyone in the Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition, you mentioned Bruce and Adrienne as well. There's some of our other members of the Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition. I think if you do get a chance to watch it, unfortunately we don't have time to watch it today in our presentation, just the screenshots you can see, but he's absolutely right, Jeff is right. It's a very powerful, heartfelt message directly from people who were involved in the Korean War to those legislators, imploring them to end the dog meat trade. And lo and behold, in January, we had a very, very positive piece of news. South Korea voted unanimously to end the dog meat trade. So the South Korean law to end dog meat will allow for a 3-year period to completely phase out the dog meat industry. So that's dog farms, dog butchers, traders, restaurants. All of them have to submit a phase out plan to local authorities within 6 months or 5 months by now. So businesses, what was really crucial in passing this law was kind of giving support to transition these businesses from dog meat businesses into new financial business opportunities. So they have an incentive to register and to end the trade. So it's going to close existing dog meat farms, and then the farmers get subsidies, they get education, they get support to operate new businesses, establish new businesses. And that's 3 years from the date to the complete elimination of dog meat in South Korea. And then if anyone is caught with, involved in the dog meat trade after 3 years, they will face criminal penalties. So people who kill a dog, even one dog in South Korea, once the law is implemented fully in 3 years' time through the phase out, they will go to jail. They will face massive fines. So the fine is up to 3 years for anyone who slaughters a dog. So 3 years imprisonment if you kill a dog for the dog meat trade. And you can face a fine of up to $23,000. So these are pretty significant deterrents. And anyone who breeds a dog for consumption, so they're not let off the hook either, they face a punishment of up to 2 years in jail and in prison, and then $15,000. So the law is also requiring all levels of local government to establish necessary measures to eradicate the dog meat consumption. So it's coming from the national government, and then the local governments are also working to implement this ban. So that includes animal welfare organizations on the ground who are also going to be caring for those dogs who are released from dog meat facilities. And I will be telling you a little bit more later about ways that you can help, because we really dearly want to save as many dogs as possible now. I'm very happy to say that dog meat dogs are an endangered species. And you can get your hands on one of these endangered species and help them through our adoption programs. And there are other ways you can help them as well. But we're going to be working full steam to save as many as possible in this 3-year period. So Jeff, would you be willing to give us a brief overview of South Korea's ban?
Sure. Well, you you did state, most of it. And what's really significant about this are the criminal penalties, because otherwise enforcement just gets very lax. As you said, the criminal penalties kick in 3 years. Any person who slaughters a dog for the purpose of consumption shall be punished by imprisonment for up to 3 years, or by a fine not exceeding 30 million won, which is approximately $23,000. And any person who breeds dogs for consumption, or distributes or sells dogs for consumption, shall be punished with imprisonment for up to 2 years, or a fine of up to 20 million won, which is approximately $15,000. And as you said, this won't, the criminal penalties won't go into effect for 3 years, but there's incentive for people involved in the dog meat trade to stop it before then, because they can get financial and other incentives to do that.
Fantastic. And this campaigning has been going on for a very, very long time. I know that IDA has been supporting activists on the ground for over 30 years to end the dog meat trade. So this has been a big cultural shift before we've got to this momentous stage. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has joined, every independent animal supporter who has been contributing to this. As Jeff mentioned, we have a very powerful advocacy platform platform. So every time you click to sign, you're actually sending a personal email directly to decision makers who have the power to end animal cruelty. So you had a big impact on them over the years. So thank you for supporting us. Thank you for funding our work, which made this advocacy happen. And I just want to ask you, Jeff, about what the Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition did to help secure the ban. Was there anything in addition to producing that wonderful video, which everyone can watch, by the way? I hope that the link is in the chat. So if you want to click on that and watch that later, you're welcome to. But the Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition to contribution to helping secure the ban.
Well, the individual members of the Global Anti-Dog Meat Coalition have been working on this, for a very long time. As you mentioned, IDA has been working on this for 30 years. And, we've all had separate things that we've done, but, we never got over that hump of having a national law in South Korea, and in particular, one that provides for criminal penalties. So, the main thing I think that the Anti-Dog Meat Coalition did was putting together this video, that has the Korean War veterans, the celebrities, Congressman Sherman, and getting that to the members of the National Assembly before the votes. There was a vote first in the Agriculture Committee, and we sent an email with the link to the video to members of that committee before their vote. Same with the Legislation and Judiciary Committee, sent it to them before that vote, and then sent it to all of the members before the full vote. So that was, we got together just at the right time, put the video together, and I think, the vote was unanimous, which really was very surprising. And, I always thought that, the younger members of the National Assembly were generally against dog meat. And it was older members who, had more of a tradition of dog meat who opposed it, and who the farmers and other people involved were able to influence. And I think, especially with them, the Korean War veterans must have just had a very big impact, because they're closer to the Korean War. Their parents were among the people who were saved. By the way, I saw a comment that came in from someone who said that their father, I think it said their father, served in the Korean War. So thank you to your father for his service, and to all of them for their service.
Absolutely, Jeff. I just want to underscore that. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. We were kind of surprised at the number of Korean War veterans who actually were kind of involved with independence of animals in some way, whether that's through a family member who supports us, who also had a war veteran in their family, and that's how we were able to make those connections. So again, thank you very much to your father for his service. It's been significant in very many ways. And Jeff, I just wanted to ask you on that question of significance, what does this ban mean? What is it significant?
Yes, it is significant, both in South Korea and worldwide. It's it's going to save the lives, save millions of dogs in South Korea from being killed. Starting, I hope, right now, but certainly once the 3-year phase-in is completed. And it can act as an example for other countries that still have the dog meat trade. South Korea did it. You can do it too. Countries like China, Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia. So hopefully, hopefully this will serve as a good example for them.
Absolutely, and I'm very glad to hear it, and we will be telling you a little bit more later about what other countries we hope to work in and hope to get to follow South Korea's wonderful lead. Let me see. Oops, technical difficulties here. Oh yes, okay. So oh, I should have been following along there. Never mind. Next time, guys, please join the next one. Now I want to focus a little bit more on Rayko's work. So Yoga Stops Yulin. So again, you can see a beautiful video about what Rayko did. Rayko hosted a couple of events. You saw earlier today that Rayko is not only a sensational performer, but she is also a Japanese tea master. And she used these skills and others to create a very special event in Malibu. So Rayko, please, could you let us know what was the aim of the event? What inspired you to do something like this?
Well, it's actually quite a story how I got inspired to do something about the dog meat trade. The aim was actually what you guys been discussing for people in civilized society to understand the unthinkable. It really goes back to my teenage years. One of my siblings was all about animal rights, super dedicated. But me, I didn't get it. I was too caught up in my own world, not really seeing the big picture she was passionate about. But fast forward a bit, and life handed me this deep, tough loss. My rescue dog of 18 years passed away. It took me years to come to terms with it. But then Zoloft, as you see, the little one on the right, came into my life, my adorable fur baby. I adopted 6 years ago. She's going to be 7 years old in April. So one day I'm just looking at her and it hits me that she looks like a miniature cow. I know it sounds funny, but that moment changed everything for me. I think it's the connection that you make with animals. Like if you visit like farm sanctuary to just look at the eyes of the cow or the pig or chicken, it just changes you. Humans are just so detached and thinking that some animals are for cuddling, some animals are for consumption. And growing up in Tokyo, I was particularly, well, yeah, I should say the main diet was Kobe beef. But right then I decided I couldn't eat beef anymore. Then I pushed myself to watch Earthlings 10th anniversary edition. And barely a minute and a half in, my heart just flipped. I felt this overwhelming shame. How could someone who believes in compassion and faith, live like this? That day was a turning point. I couldn't detail every emotion I went through, but it led me to veganism out of an immense shame in how ignorant I had been for all my life. And then there's Sheena Gal. I met this woman, Sheena Gal, who's become one of my dearest friends. She's been fighting against the dog meat trade for ages and opened up my eyes so much more than I already knew. But I also had this conversation with a friend from Indonesia, and he really made me think that he helped me see how eating dogs in some rural parts of Southeast Asia isn't seen differently from how most people view eating cows in more civilized societies, like here in the States. It dawned on me that making any real change, like banning the dog meat trade, requires a collective effort, understanding, and time, especially for those whose livelihood depends on it. It was, believe me, it was not at all easy to be so understanding, and it took all my might as a Zen certified tea ceremony master to acquire this magnitude of patience. But again, the event, actually, I did Yoga Stops Yuling, which was initiative of Jade Era from Canada, was about the Yuling Dog Meat Festival. So we've been advocating their sister city, Paterson, New Jersey, to step in, offering those farmers alternative ways to make a living. And as you know, we have been talking, that's exactly what started to happen in South Korea. So it's been really quite a journey from not taking my siblings' activism seriously to where I am now. I believe it's about connecting all the dots between our actions and their impact on all living beings and doing something meaningful about it. Sorry, it was a long answer to what you just asked me. But
that's beautifully said, Rayko, and thank you for giving us so much of the context of how you came to this, and what kind of impact it had on you personally, and how it's inspired you to really get the word out there and organize events like this, which spread awareness in such a positive way. So I'll share some, as Rayko's speaking, I'll share some more photos from the event. So as you heard, it's focused on yoga, but Rayko also used her tea skills as well as just organizing this entire event, which was very well attended. So was it successful, Rayko, would you say?
Definitely. We had incredible vendors and a great turnout. I think you were there on the second one or first one, second one. We ended up doing it twice at Rafi Lounge, which is a members only celebrity lounge in Malibu where I perform tea ceremonies. Both events were successful, and we got to raise not only awareness, but raise money and donations. And the Isabella St. James from the Pug Queen came out with her rescue dogs, and Helena from Rescue Dog for China. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but she came out with 3 or 5 dogs, and 3, I believe, got adopted at the event, and they were the dog meat trade dogs in China, from China. So, I cannot thank you guys enough, and for your dedication for fighting against the dog meat trade for 30 years, which is, I believe you guys are the longest fighter for the dogs in the dog meat trade out of all animal rights organizations. So I cannot thank you enough. And I think you really helped us achieve the success that we had so far. And I am going to keep doing it. Right now, I am taking care of my mom, as you know, but with cancer and everything. But as soon as she gets better, she's determined to get better. As soon as she's good, and I am going to be returning to do a lot more events for for China, Indonesia, Vietnam. Just like Jeff said, there's a lot of work cut out for us. So I'll continue to do my events.
Well, thank you so much, Rayko. That's absolutely beautifully said. And thank you again for raising awareness, for raising donations, for getting dogs adopted, and transforming people's opinions of why animals deserve to be respected. So thank you again. We're actually getting close to the end now. So I want to go through, I don't want to miss out some very important things. So we have here I'd very briefly go over China. So In Defense of Animals is partnering in China with local organizations, just as we are in other parts of the world. So I'm sure many of you want to hear about it. Although only a very small portion of the population in China are eating dogs and cats, because of the huge population of China, that's actually around 9 million dogs and around 4 million cats slaughtered for meat in China every year. Things are changing. There is much more animal companionship going on nowadays in China, but unfortunately, menu items have been crossed out, and in 2020 the Chinese government changed the definition and status of dogs and cats. They were removed from the livestock list, so they are not approved animals to eat. So technically we believe that it is legal to eat dogs and cats in China. However, unfortunately, not all the restaurants decided to stop serving meat, so there are still animals being eaten there. A lot of these are pets who have been stolen, are animal companions who are literally taken from people's gardens, snatched from the streets, or strays as well. And there are breeding farms too. So we have a partner in Yulin, and they are very keen for me to let you know that the Yulin festival, the Dog Meat and Lychee Festival that happens in June, it is not just happening in June. They have a rescue centre out there we support, which you support through your donations to our dog and cat meat work. They are slaughtering animals 365 days of the year. So it's not just Yulin Festival. This is happening all the time, unfortunately. So what are we doing? We're doing animal rescue, we're doing adoptions, we're doing investigations with our partners. And that is the first step in changing the culture, is spreading awareness. So thank you very much to Rayko for her efforts to spread awareness over here in Los Angeles. And then we can, with our colleagues in China, we can raise their voices to end this awful trade. So we are saving animals. I want to give you a quick overview of some of the animals who you can save, and hopefully this is working out. But these are all cats who have been saved from Yulin. They are available for adoption, so that's something that you can inquire about in the chat if you would like to. There's also a link in the chat to see all of the cats who are available to adopt. So I've messed up my slides, unfortunately, which is very sad, because there's some other gorgeous cats behind this very beautiful one, who is Venus, who was stuffed into a sack at a market. She's very affectionate, and she is available for adoption right now. You'll have to go and look on the website to see the others, because I want to get to some other sections, such as which countries are still eating dogs and cats. So there's actually a huge number of countries that are still eating dogs and cats, 16 of them. Many of them are in Asia, though there are some other surprising ones as well. You might be surprised to see Switzerland in there. There's also some countries in Africa that are still killing dogs and cats. So we are working on local partnerships. That is the way to change this. We work with local partners. We support them in country with their advocacy, with their rescue, to establish a base of compassion that other people can get involved in. And through that, we will change the culture, lobby politically, and then we can get those fantastic bans. And we hope to roll out South Korea's ban in all 16 of these countries, and end dog meat worldwide, and cat meat. That is our overall ambition. So we'll be telling you a little bit more about some of our other partners. One of our main focuses right now outside of China is in Indonesia. So working in very, very poor conditions, our partners are saving dogs and cats from where they are being horribly poisoned on the streets and then eaten. So it might be hard to comprehend, but people are feeding poison to these animals and then eating them. It doesn't seem very safe for you, but also terrible suffering for the animals. And there's practically no infrastructure, no education, no veterinary care. So we're in this for the long haul. We are committed for another 30 years if it takes it. We hope it won't. But if it does, then we will work to see the end of this ban, but as quickly as possible. We want to save as many lives as possible in this time from all 16 of these countries. Here are some key opportunities to act. So we are desperately in need of experienced adopters. So those cats from the cat meat trade in China are available to adopt now. You can get those links by hopefully in the chat. Thank you to my colleagues for putting those there. We also are hoping to we have some very special dogs right now in South Korea. So some of these dogs are very traumatized, especially if they've been on a dog meat farm, if they've been saved from a dog meat truck. They have endured unthinkable things. So they are currently in a training school. Lots of them we send to a training school for special care and rehabilitation. But what they really need is a loving forever home. And we are looking for people who have experience with Spitz breeds, who have experience with dog training, and you know, somebody who is going to really cherish these dogs and help them recover from their trauma and understand that they you know, they might need a little bit more adjustment than your regular adoption. So please do consider those. We have a very special feature on them, which I hope will also be linked in the chat so you can see exactly who those dogs are. Other things that you can do if you are flying between China and the US or South Korea and the US, please get in touch with us. Please tell us if you're traveling, because we always need volunteers to shuttle animals from one country to the other to their loving forever home. So we often have dogs waiting who have been adopted, but they just need their flight. So yeah, do please consider that, and tell your friends as well if you hear that they're going to China or South Korea. Other things you can do, you can organize an event like Rayko did, that beautiful event, Yoga Stops You Lin in Malibu. And another thing that you can do is consider all animals. So we have a wonderful, wonderful guide. It's our vegan guide. It's one of the best guides out there, I would say. I did work on it myself, but it's really people who get it, they absolutely love it. It's comprehensive. It teaches you how to you know, the reason for vegan, like why consider some animals companions, why consider other animals food. There's really no difference. They all have the same capacity to suffer. And how it can make very positive impacts on your health and well-being, very positive impacts for the animals, for the environment, and be very delicious at the same time too. So another thing you can do, I'm sure you're already doing, is signing our alerts. Thank you very much for doing that. That makes a big difference, and you can become a dog defender. So of course, we are always needing donations to support direct rescue of dogs. It takes approximately $2,000 to rescue one dog from South Korea. So it's very expensive and time consuming and labor. It's a labor of love. All of your donations go directly towards the saving of animals and also advocacy to change those laws. And we've got to change those laws so that we can end this horrible trade. But now we've only got a very short amount of time left, unfortunately, but I want to open the floor to some questions. So Mary, are you able to let us know some questions that people have had as we've been going through?
Sure, yeah. All right, so Rod wanted to know about the backlash from South Koreans who supported the dog meat trade. Has that been an issue?
That's a really, really interesting question, Rod. So the dog meat lobby got very, very active and vocal toward the end. Of course, our rescuers on the ground are very wary of them. So they, you know, these are people who kill animals for a living. They are not the most well-adjusted. They are, you know, they can be quite volatile, and they feel under threat because they know that their livelihood is threatened by what's happening, the cultural shift that's taking place. The dog meat trade has actually threatened to release all, I think, 1 million dogs onto the streets as way of a protest. Fortunately, that didn't happen. So, you know, I think it's really a case of it's working with these farmers. They don't, they don't see dogs any differently from other animals who are farmed and eaten. So it's really a case of educating them and supporting them to transition into something else, something a better way of making a living that's more sustainable for them for future as well.
Yeah, I always advocate for mushroom farms because mushrooms are so easy to grow, especially in that climate in Asia. And mushroom is becoming the next big thing. You have mushroom leather, you have mushroom protein burger, mushroom protein steak. I really want, like, I do not want them to become a cattle rancher because, like, it is every animal, they're all sentient beings. They suffered exactly the same. And, dairy farming, factory farming, animal farming, no animal agriculture. I really want to advocate for them to transition into mushroom farming and more like plant-based or hemp, that kind of stuff, like for the future, future farming.
Absolutely, Rayko. Yeah, that's so important, and it's so much better for the environment too.
Yes.
It's going to give them a more stable income and take advantage of some of these markets that are really hotting up, especially mushrooms, as you say. Medicinal mushrooms, mushroom leather, there's no end. And yeah, easy to do. So, and no animals harmed. That's the important part. Mary, do you have any more questions for us?
Yes, there are a few. The next one is the status of this ban. Is it also for cats?
So the South Korea's dog meat ban is not for cats. We will be working on that in other countries to make sure that those are paw in paw. They go together. The big reason why South Korea did not include cats in its ban is because they are not farmed. So South Korea was the one of the only countries that had that was majorly farming, a major industry farming dogs. So cats, I think in the last 7 years that we've been working with Jindo Love Rescue, we found one cat on a farm in all of that time. So it's really not, fortunately, it was not an issue in South Korea. That's not to say that it's not an issue in other countries, because it absolutely is. Dogs and cats are eaten in almost all of those 16 countries. So we absolutely will be campaigning for bans on the cat meat trade wherever it exists.
Yeah, especially because of the Korean male, there is a myth that they all believe that more torture you afflict on the dogs, more testosterone they receive. So they were really male-dominated market. So it was just all focused on the dogs more than the cats. But it's just this is a huge historical event, and because this is happening, I think it's going to influence, I believe it 100% influence all the other countries, dogs and cats, and I am really hoping for this to make a huge change throughout the world.
Well put, Rayko. Mary, do you have any more questions for us?
Yeah.
I'd love to answer as many as possible.
Yeah. There was one question that basically said there is a concern about the lack of enforcement for the law, and that there should be pressure on the local and federal governments in South Korea to provide funds and means to create facilities to shelter the rescued dogs and all of that kind of stuff. Is there any thought in pursuing that endeavor?
That's a really interesting one, and certainly there are government incentives from the central government to to transition into other avenues of making money. But the local government, I'm really grateful you brought that up, because I hadn't thought about that as an avenue that could possibly provide more support. So yeah, we will look into that with the coalition. I appreciate that, and of course, naturally, we're going to be working on the ground on enforcement. So we can't just simply overnight, okay, all of the dogs who were in dog meat farms, we're going to push them all off into shelters. There's not enough space. That's unfortunately not how it works. The the ban will take place. You know, it's gradual. So unfortunately, the dogs who are in the farms right now, they still remain property of the farmers. So it's not, you know, ownership did not just change to someone else. Not that you can really own an animal anyway; they're their own beings. But those dogs will be, unfortunately, many of them will be continued to be killed. And the main thing is that the ban provides for this phase out, that we can end the dog meat trade without having, you know, there's this huge number of dogs. So that's why it's so important that we really want to clear out some of those dogs, those very special dogs who are traumatized, from our rescue centers, so that we can focus on getting saving as many as we possibly can in this 3-year period. And once that 3-year period is done, we will be very much switching to enforcement. So anyone, any rumor that we get of the dog meat trade still going on, we are going to be prosecuting anyone who does that. We are actually at time. I don't know if we might just squeeze in one last question before we wrap up.
Okay, how about what is the status of the spay and neuter programs in places like South Korea?
Do you know what? I am not an expert on the status of spay and neuter,
I
but
can give you an
do
easier
know
one.
I do know that South Korea, you know, it's very much a developed country. There's, you know, animals, especially dogs, are now being thought of more as companions. I believe that especially small dogs, whereas the larger dogs are being more kept for meat. So yeah, spay and neuter, I guess it will be the next big thing. We are seeing, unfortunately, a problem with lots of breeding farms. So puppy mills is a problem, and puppy mills are another source of meat for the dog meat traders. So that's definitely a problem that we've been tackling and seeing more of, unfortunately, as Korea changes how it sees dogs, not as meat, more as companions. There's other problems popping up which we are addressing, and we'll continue to address with your help. So yes, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for joining. Thank you for joining us on this afternoon. Thank you so much to my co-presenters, Jeffrey Mausner and Rayko Takahashi. You've been absolutely wonderful. I hope that they've inspired you like they inspire me every single day I get to work with them. They are incredible animal activists, and you can be an incredible animal activist too. Just check out the links that have been provided in the chat. You can go to our website. There's so many things that you can do to help dogs yourself too. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you for supporting our work, and huge congratulations. This is a very historic achievement, and I'm very grateful to have been working on it with you. Thank you.